My good. This one.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I already put your miles ahead of most of these we did. The fundraiser last night, you couldn't hear the person talking.
Oh.
We're gonna hit mute until we're ready to go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me good in the back? Good. All right. Well, welcome to the City of Dayton Commissioner Debate, hosted by the Montgomery County Westside Democratic Club and the Quarter Note Club. I'm Davita Lattimore, City of Dayton resident, your moderator for the evening, and I'm going to present each candidate one by one and give you all 1 minute to introduce yourselves to those here with us this evening and watching us online. My glasses are fogging up. All right, so from my left to right, I'm going to start with Scott Sliver. Give us 1 second. Okay, so again, first we have Mr. Scott Sliver.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you all. My name is Scott Sliver, and I'm a candidate for Dayton City Commission. I have a professional background in advertising and marketing. I had my own advertising agency for 6 years out of a 15-year career. I worked on major accounts such as Kings Island, Merrill Lynch, Holiday Inn, a lot of the automobile industry, Delco, when they were in Dayton. I'm also a senior associate pastor at a church that I helped to found in 1990. I've been running a mobile food pantry for the past 12 years, providing groceries to hundreds of households in and around the Dayton area. I've been appointed to several boards by the city, one being the Landmarks Commission, which oversees the 14 historic districts. I was on the Community Police Council, which was rolled into the police reform working groups. I'm on the executive board of the Dayton unit NAACP, where I handle communication, press, and publicity. And I've been a mentor in Dayton Public Schools for quite a few years as well. It's great to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, glad to have you. All right, next we have Stacey Benson-Taylor.
Thank you, Davita. Thank you, Dayton West, Montgomery County Westside Democratic Club for hosting this. My name is again Stacey Benson-Taylor, candidate for Dayton City Commission. I am running for Dayton City Commission because for the last 15 years, I've represented the employees that work for City of Dayton, the Public Works Department, the Water Department, the streets, the people who make things happen in the city. And as the union representative for those employees, I have extensive knowledge and understanding of budgets. I have extensive knowledge and understanding of staffing levels, as well as the departments as a whole and the services that we need here on the west side in the city of Dayton. That representation allowed me to see all of the departments, not just one department, but all of the departments. And so I've represented those employees through 2 recessions, the loss of a major airline, the transfer of the convention center, as well as the current COVID pandemic. And so it is experience. We have a lot of people who love our city of Dayton. All of the candidates have passion for the city of Dayton, but it's passion plus experience that equals success. And I have that experience. I also am a community member who is extremely active. I'm on the AFL-CIO Executive Committee, the NAACP Executive Board. I'm a member of the Montgomery County Democratic Party Executive Committee and Steering Committee. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I'm also a mentor just like Scott. And so in addition to having a breadth of knowledge and understanding of the city. I have a breadth of knowledge and understanding of our community. And that's what makes me an excellent and the best candidate for Dayton City Commission.
Thank
I'm
you,
not sure that
Stacey.
mic is turned on.
It-
Okay,
Yes.
all right, great. The next we have Darryl Fairchild.
I'm Darryl Fairchild. I'm one of the current Dayton City Commissioners, and I'm incumbent running for re-election. I think that makes me the one who has the most experience of any of the candidates, having served as a commissioner for 3 years now, and having served during 3 difficult years when you think of all that we faced over 2019 in the pandemic. I'm proud of accomplishments I had even during difficult times. We spent a lot of time reacting to things that came at us, but even in there, we focused on working to get a plan for our neighborhoods. And at the end of the year, that'll be completed. We have 3 of the regions completed, the 4th will be completed by the end of the year. From day one, I started to work with our CPC group, knowing that police and community relationships were important, and was a part of bringing police reform to 142 recommendations. And one of the things that's going to be critical in the next term is making sure that we implement those well and timely. Thanks to voters in May, you agreed with me, and we changed our charter and put a prohibition of selling or leasing our water system. And that will protect our water system for generations. So those are some accomplishments even during a difficult time. I'm also the manager of chaplain services at Dayton Children's Hospital, work with families and patients. I'm a father, a husband, I'm a native Daytonian. I've served our community in one capacity or another for over 40 years. And I'm a parent, proud parent of a Dayton Public School student. So ask for your vote on November 2nd.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Shenise Turner-Sloss. They can, if you want to stand this way. So, oh, it's better now. She adjusted it. You're good. Yes, ma'am.
So, good evening. My name is Shenise Turner-Sloss, candidate for Dayton City Commission. So, the reason why I'm running for Dayton City Commission, I grew up in the Dayton area. From the time I was born to the age 10, my family and I, we struggled with decent affordable housing. And it wasn't until I was age 10 that we actually landed and bought a house in Southwest Quadrant in the Residence Park neighborhood. And in that time, we had everything we needed within walking distance. We had access to the local Kroger's on Gettysburg. We had the Hoover bowling alley, the skating rink. We had a number of amenities in our area. Today, many of our families are struggling. We have one of the highest poverty rates in the country. We are one of the most segregated cities in the country. We have to do a better job than what we're currently doing. We need intentional leadership in office who has the commitment, the experience, and the wherewithal to make sure that we push bold progressive policy forward to answer those ills in our community. We have an opportunity to do so. We have $138 million coming to the city of Dayton. And with my experience as a former city of Dayton employee, I am the one who is one of the best candidates for the position because of my experience procuring and administering federal funds for the city of Dayton. I am currently a logistician with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I deal with not only $1 million budget, billion and $1 trillion budget. So I have the knowledge, the experience. I'm also a mother of 3 young children in Dayton Public Schools, a wife. My family and I have been very active in the Dayton community for a number of years. One of the co-founders of Neighborhoods Over Politics, a training and advocacy organization in the Dayton area, a nonprofit. So again, my experience is valued, and that's why I'm running for the next Dayton City Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so those are our candidates. So I'm going to explain how we're going to do the debate today. So since there are 2 slate teams, we will ask questions to your team rather than an individual candidate. Now, what I want our viewers to understand is that even though they are here working collaboratively as a team, there are 2 seats available for the Dayton City Commission, and there are 4 people running. So you can choose, when you go out and vote, any one of these individuals here today for those 2 seats. So I'm not sure how you guys want to talk, or have you already discussed how you want to answer the questions? Or did you want to take a second amongst yourselves to figure out how you want to do it? Everybody good? All right.
And just for clarity, it's any two candidates.
Any two candidates, absolutely, for 2 seats, yep. So again, even though they're running as teams, there are only 2 seats, 2 candidates, and there are 4 people running. And if you choose one, it doesn't mean you automatically have the other. And I'm just saying this for those who might not know how that works. All right. Okay, pull this down. All right, so each team will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer the question. The other team can rebut for 1 minute. And then the team that I asked the question to originally, you have 30 seconds to give any kind of feedback from what was said before. During the first half of the debate, I have questions that I will ask that are already pre-suggested. And then we will also take questions from the audience, which I've already gotten to from here. And if you're watching us online, please feel free to type in your questions and we will make sure those get addressed as well. At the end of the questions, we will give each candidate 1 minute to give closing remarks. All right? All right. So first question, and I don't ask them in order, so let me make sure I jot down which one I ask first. I'm gonna ask the first question to Sliver and Benson-Taylor. All right. And again, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds. West Dayton has very few national corporations in our area. What are your plans to attract anchor businesses to the west side?
Thank you for that question. Economic development is extremely important in our city. One of the things that I understand is that in order to bring corporations and businesses here, we have to demonstrate that we have an economic footprint. We're a General Motors town, we're a General Motors city. And so a lot of people would like to see that type of resource, that type of retail, that type of large corporation. What I know from serving on the West State Development Steering Committee is that corporations and businesses like that put a dot down in a neighborhood, they create a circle and they determine how much money is being spent in that community. Unfortunately, many of our communities don't have an economic footprint. So my plan would be to build our neighborhoods from the inside out, investing in small businesses, creating economic opportunities in the neighborhoods to create a financial footprint. So the more that we work with our small businesses, the more assistance we give them, whether it's information, whether it's financial, then we begin to create an economic footprint. A perfect example of that is with the Entrepreneurs Market. You bring together a group of entrepreneurs and you create an economic footprint so that now larger corporations begin to see that there are dollars and cents being spent in our communities. And so that is one of the biggest challenges when you're looking at bringing in corporations. We have to work with our community partners who already have those relationships so that we can develop that type of interest in our community and our neighborhoods.
All right, thank you. All right. You have 1 minute to rebut. Would you like me to ask the question again, or are you good? Yes. West Dayton has very few national corporations in our area. What are your plans to attract anchor businesses to the west side?
Thank you. So you're talking anchor businesses, so we're talking large employers. I think we got a good example with Economy Lane, located out downtown over in the West Dayton. And part of it was location. They wanted to be close to the 35 connector. They wanted to be close to employees, and they wanted to be able to have the resources they need. And that's typically what site selection people look at. Do I have the resources I need to do my business? Can I get my product out to sales quickly? And are the employees there? So I think one of the major things out there is, working with our school system to make sure our children are educated well. So we have a very attractive workforce. We've seen other places where people have located to Dayton or in the region because of the workforce we have, like, for example, engineers. We have a lot of aerospace engineers, so corporations who need aerospace engineers come to Dayton. So those are the things we need to look at to leverage.
And if, okay, you have 30 seconds.
I think we do have the resources here, but that is a long-term vision and a long-term goal. Economy Lending was already one of our community partners, and we're certainly grateful for their movement to the neighborhoods. And looking at long-term, how we bring those corporations in, absolutely, we look at the resources we have here. But we have to build our neighborhoods from the inside out. That is the key of creating economic footprints right now. That gives us something to build on. And when we do that, then we control who comes to our community and not beg for people to come to our community.
Thank you. All right. Next question to Shenise and Darryl. Okay. There were several actions taken to protect tenants in 2020 and 2021. Property owners are subjected to property violations, overgrown lawns, trash violations, and etc., while tenants possess the property. What are your plans to protect property owners from tenant neglect?
So here's the truth, and this is what we're dealing with. We have over 11 blighted structures in the city of Dayton. We have an affordable housing crisis, not only in the country, but not only in the city of Dayton, but in the country, honestly. And so what we need to look at is how do we go in, how do we make sure that we are investing in our neighborhoods, to build up our neighborhoods, but also to provide an avenue to create a pipeline for home ownership. So what do we need to do to protect our homeowners or our property owners? We need to make sure that, for one, what we've seen with the past administration and the current administration, we've seen a decrease in our housing inspection department. We need to make sure that we, for one, we use some of those dollars, whether it's our federal funds, the $132 million that we have coming from the COVID rescue funds, or whether we're using the increase in funds that we're receiving from the Department of Housing and Urban Development to go in there to make sure that we are investing in the staff so that not only are we providing housing inspectors to protect our landlords and our homeowners, but to also provide an avenue for resources so they can assist with any property issues or repairs that they may be having. We don't have that in place. So what we're proposing to do, myself, as an ex-Dayton City Commissioner, as well as Commissioner Fairchild, is to make sure that we institute a program for a low-interest loan program, as well as for the forgivable grant programs to assist those homeowners. But we also have to make sure that we're investing in those tools to give them the resources that they need.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, part of the difficulty is the city of Dayton has so many properties that are in decline. They are behind on their taxes. We have out-of-state owners that don't respond. They have PO boxes. And then what happens is everything just gets run down, overgrown. I know this because I live in the Wolf Creek neighborhood. And over the summer, I mowed 10 vacant lots just in my neighborhood. The city can't keep up with all of that. There is going to be a crisis of people being evicted due to COVID. I think that the number I heard across the United States is like 12 million people are at risk of being evicted just because of the loss of income and mortgages that are going to become due, and they're not going to be able to do it. And we can't allow people to end up on the streets because of that.
So here's the truth of the matter. Our opponents believe that it is a colossal waste of using the federal funds for the COVID rescue dollars to make sure that the residents in the city of Dayton, the residents in the city of Dayton have a standard of housing and what we're currently dealing with. We do not have standards in place. We do not have those who are in those positions to make sure that we are enforcing those standards. And so we need to make sure that we get back to the basics, looking at those root causes and making sure that with those funds that we do have, we are assisting the homeowners as well as the landlords, as well as the tenants to prevent them from being displaced.
Thank you. All right. Scott and Stacey. Over the past couple of years, we have seen a decrease in our after-school youth events and programs. Activities such as golf and outdoor swimming are not present in the West Dayton. There is often minimal programming targeting teenagers. How will your administration increase the after-school and summer programs for our West Dayton youth?
Thank you. Very, very important question. There are many challenges and obstacles when it comes to funding because as a commissioner, one of the things that is important to understand is that we have statutorily mandated services that we must provide by law, like public works, streets, like those things. And then we have services that we provide for the enjoyment. That is our parks and that is our recreation. My opponent is incorrect. We do not believe it is a colossal waste of any of the money that the feds have provided us. What I said, or what I believe Scott said, was that in order to put the $138 million in simply housing was a colossal waste. We can take some of that money and provide for recreation. That is money that we can use to help upgrade programs at recreation centers. Golf is an ongoing cost, and so we have to be creative in how we deal with and how we address many of these issues. That $138 million is a one-time spend. That is not something that we can compound. When we hire people, we hire them at a salary, but that salary is compounded over time. So that is not what we can use the money for. There are also regulations from the federal government as to how we can use that money. One of those things is for recreation. One of those things is for enjoyment. So we can actually use that for the parks. We can use it to supplement recreation and after school programs. But that is something that we would have to sit and look at. There is no waste when we have dollars and cents to spend.
Thank you.
So Shenise and I are calling to invest in our young people. In 2018, as soon as I got elected into the city commission, the city did an engagement with the neighborhood leaders and other stakeholders in the community. And they said that the thing they said is that we want to invest in our young people. And it's time to do that. We haven't done it yet. 19 went by, we didn't do it. 20's gone by, we haven't done it. Now's the time. And I believe, and Shenise and I both believe, that we should use some of the $138 million to invest in our young people. Granted, we want to do, by and large, we want to do one-time expenses with this one-time dollars, but I think our youth are an exception. And it's time for us to invest in our youth before something tragic happens. We always come around after something tragic happens. Derek Ali got murdered, and then we did something about our youth. Rise in violence in the spring, we do a summit for our youth. No longer, our children have, and youth need to take a priority, and we need to invest in it now.
Investing in our youth is very, very important. And to hear our opponent state that, it's a contradiction because both of them were adamantly against issue 9. Now they state that they had questions and that there were concerns about how the money was being used. But I sat during negotiations of how the issue 9, and that was the income tax. That is what funded the preschool promise. If you are concerned about our youth, it's a contradiction now when you voted against issue 9 and you stood against issue 9, which provided for preschool promise.
Next question is for Darryl and Shenise. The Linda Vista Apartments shed light on how many renters are living in poor condition apartments on the west side. Unfortunately, it took a Facebook post to go viral for the city to get involved. How will your administration ensure other residents aren't living in similar conditions?
So this goes right to the point that we were just having the debate about a moment ago. Shenise and I proposed using $138 million to bring in some contractors, not employees, but contractors, to do inspection and inspect the whole city. Scott called that a colossal waste of money. We think it's incredibly important because right now we are complaint-based, which means someone has to call and complain before our housing inspector comes out. That's inadequate because of Linda Vista. We know that that's not the only property in Dayton where our citizens are living. And let's talk about how serious that was. There was raw sewage in the basement of that apartment building. I came out, I saw it, I saw those kids, our fire department came out and did an excellent job. Shenise was out there to help and the community came and rallied. Our citizens deserve better. And I want to talk about issue 9. They continue to misrepresent what Shenise and I did on issue 9. You can go, I wrote a Dayton Weekly op-ed, I spoke at City Commission, I'm on the record. We raised questions. I said clearly, I'm in favor of preschool promise. But here's the deal, preschool promise is only 1,400 children. We have 25,000 children in the Dayton. We need to do funding for them as well. And the thing that was wrong with preschool promise was there wasn't accountability. When it was first proposed, they didn't outline where it was going. We spoke up, they put an ordinance to lay out where they were going to spend the money. They didn't identify how preschool promise was going to be governed. We spoke up. Robin Lightcamp got to work and brought the proposal, what the governance would be. There are some people who say issue 9 didn't get passed, except for the fact that we worked hard so that people knew that it was going to be accountable.
I have 30 seconds or a minute. Okay. The colossal waste of money comment was specifically, there was just no definition around it. Obviously, I think it's a good idea to bring properties up to, to code and to make them livable. But then you have people who's going to be responsible for that? Is that going to be the city running some program? Is it going to be independent developers? If we do sell people homes, they're going to have to be able to actually not just purchase them, but able to maintain them. If the roof goes bad in a few years, if the furnace breaks down, all those things are hindrances for people. So we have to plan for all of that. I'd like to see part of the $138 million going to building really nice apartments, not Section 8, low income, apartments that are scary and not encouraging, but something that would be really nice, that people would be proud to move into and excited about, that would be nice, that would really lift people up.
Let me help you with that one. I
30
take
seconds.
great offense to that statement. Let me just share this with you all real quick. So on the night of the Linda Vista incident, myself, Commissioner Fairchild, were on the ground, a number of other community members, Deja Demings, Jared Grandy. I also have to make sure that I mentioned that our county recorder, Brandon McLean, was also on the ground. That was a tragedy, and as mentioned, that is not an isolated incident. That is across the city of Dayton. Myself, Neighborhoods Over Politics, Commissioner Fairchild, we have been fighting tooth and nail for the past 15 years against those conditions in the city of Dayton. Let me share this last point with you all too. It took my contacts to make sure that someone was on the ground for Montgomery County Services to make sure that in fact those families were removed from those premises. We had to make sure that we contact Montgomery County to have Catholic Social Services out and to have St. Vincent to come out to remove those families so they can have a decent place to rest their head that evening. The city does not have a process in place and it is simply unacceptable. That's why I'm asking for people to vote for myself, Shenise Turner-Sloss, and Commissioner Fairchild. Early voting has started. Thank you.
All right. Scott and Stacey. The 2021 survey showed tearing down vacant properties was the number request of residents. How will you ensure our Black construction businesses can take the lead on West Dayton demo projects?
Thanks, great question. Well, that's what the Human Relations Council was designed to do, was to actually make sure that there's equity and fairness in terms of minorities getting those contracts. Somebody just has to pay closer attention. Somebody has to make sure that that is actually going to happen. I don't think these things are as difficult as people make them. it's about relationship. It's about actually, being in meetings, paying attention, talking to people, and following up and making sure that what is supposed to happen is actually happening. So.
Just following up, one of the things that the state has in order to ensure about contracts and contracting that is done properly are inspectors to make sure that prevailing wages are being paid to our contractors and things like that. There are two statewide. One of the things that I've already proposed, because I believe that you don't have to get elected to propose things, I think you can do that now. One of the things that Scott and I have proposed when we met with the building trades and we met with the commissioners was that we needed to have our own monitors to make sure that these contracts are being done properly, to make sure that minority contracts are being given, and to make sure that those contracts are paid at prevailing wages.
Thank you.
Well, Scott hit it on the head. HRC, our Human Relations Council, is designed for that very fact. The other evening, I was critiqued for the fact that I voted no to stand up so that HRC could be funded. And it was done in a way that didn't show a full understanding of the budget, even though people say they have a good understanding of the budget. Some people see it through a narrow lens. They saw it as 3 positions. It was way much more than 3 positions. The reality was that we had underfunded HRC and we hadn't given them focus. And without that, they were in a position of being ineffective. I talked to an old-time leader, and he said, Darryl, this is exactly what happened with the priority boards. They started to underfund it, and then it started to get killed by 1,000 cuts. And if you don't stand up today, Dean Lovelace is going to get up out of his grave and dance on your head, because that's how critical HRC. And it's not positions, it's so thin over there. A position is a whole program. And so that's what was so critical about voting no on the budget, so that we could get the HRC focused and funded.
Commissioner Fairchild was referring to the 2021 budget discussions where he voted no. And I did take issue with him voting no. It is actually one of the reasons why I'm out here running today. We have to look at the city holistically. My issue and concern with the HRC is that there were 3 positions that were vacant. There were already discussions regarding the services. There are also positions vacant in every other department in the city. And so we had layoff meetings and reduction meetings at the airport, at recreation, and at many other places in the city. And that was the issue and the concern with voting against the budget, is that you are voting to lay people off if you do not vote for this budget, and you are fighting for 3 vacant positions. It's not about the programming. The programming is important, but we have to be creative. We don't have the same money. That bargaining unit that I fought for had 1,500 people 15 years ago. They now have 700 people providing you the services. They could not withstand any more layoffs. And that was my issue and my concern with the no vote on the budget.
Thank you. The next question is for Darryl and Shenise. In 2020, the city of Dayton launched a police reform effort leading to many recommended changes. Despite the collective action to change policies, we continue to see police officers displaying authoritarian characteristics in their interactions with citizens. Recently, there have been several incidents where officers have treated disabled individuals poorly. How will you improve the police officers' interactions with the Black community over the next 4 years?
So, as a person with a disability, I was troubled by the video that I saw. I immediately called the chief, the assistant chief, and the city manager to get an update about where we're at. And there's 2 key pieces in there. One is we have to do training, and that's a long-term investment, and it's going to take time. The other is accountability. And so I will be monitoring that situation, just as I have other situations where to make sure that we have a good process to review what happened and hold officers accountable. We just passed the FOP budget, And one of the recommendations that came out of there, well, out of the police reform, was to be able to retain officer records beyond 3 or 5 years, whichever the contract. And we got an acknowledgement from the FOP lawyer acknowledging that we can keep those records and they can be public records for as long as we want. So that was a recommendation that came out of police reform, and it's a piece of being able to hold people accountable. Similarly, one of the things that recommendations came was more citizen participation in the disciplinary process and in the CAB. And we've seen the CAB work. We have a case now with a person with a disability that is still under review. We haven't had resolution with that. I look forward to seeing all the information come forward so that we can get a just resolution for that, so that both our citizens are treated fairly across the whole city, and we do what's right by our citizens.
You.
You know, out of the 142 recommendations that have been put forth, there have been 20 some that have been implemented. Some of them are going to take time. It takes 7 years to change a corporate culture, and we have a culture in terms of policing that has been decades. Some of these are very long-term strategies in terms of the training component, starting in the academy and then ongoing training. I was on the community engagement police reform group, and some of these things can happen right away. You know, there are things that are being put in place that officers, can no longer use tasers. They have to use body cameras, things like that. But there are a lot of things like legal concerns and budgetary concerns that also have to be considered. It's just going to take time, but it has to change.
So when I actually received a phone call of the incident that took place, a number of friends and family members, they sent me the video, and I was deeply disturbed for a number of reasons. Because the incident actually occurred in my neighborhood. I'm very familiar with the street. It's in front of a friend of my home. And I believe that what we need to look at, and Scott he's correct, there's 142 recommendations that have been proposed. But here's the kicker. We need to make sure that those proposed ideals are actually implemented. That's only 23%. That is poor. And so what I'm proposing to do as the next Dayton City Commissioner, along with Commissioner Fairchild, is to make sure that we see more implementation of those 142 recommendations. Thank you.
Next question is for Scott and Stacey. The homeless population has increased significantly over the past year. What will be done to improve conditions amongst the homeless, including shelters and places that are supposed to be safe zones?
Yeah, this is kind of, hello?
Check. This is in my lane because I actually operate a mobile food pantry that provides groceries to hundreds of families every month, and I've been doing it for over 10 years, actually closer to 13 years now. This is an ongoing problem. It's not going to go away. And I think there's no reason why we couldn't take a couple of the abandoned buildings and fix them up nicely. I know there's a tension that's there, because if you make it too nice, then people don't care and try and pull themselves out of poverty and just go there and live. But I think people deserve a nice place to lay their head down at night. I think they deserve 3 good meals every day. And I think that we can do something rather than allow people to live under bridges and just wander around in the streets and try and find a place to stay warm through the winter months. I just think this isn't going to go away. You can't just, find people for, being off the exit ramp and trying to get a few bucks or whatever. I think there are things that we can do that actually invest and makes it nice for people that are homeless.
In addition to that, we have a lot of community partners that we work with now. And when you look at the development that has occurred in our city, we have a lot of developers. This is a really good project for the developers. For them, it's tax breaks. It's not that we give them, but tax breaks that they can receive for helping donate, helping build, etc. We also have these vacant structures. Many of the vacant structures are up to code. They are livable. Not all of them need to be demolished. They just need some help to beautify them and get them up to a living standard. That is also an additional option for a way to give people what we in labor call it a hand up, not a hand out.
Before we get the rebuttal, the audience member wants you to kind of elaborate what you meant in your response, Scott. Yeah.
Make the dwelling too nice, sorry. We don't want to make the dwelling too nice.
Not we, but the powers that be. I've heard that discussed in the past, that you don't want to take a building and make it too nice because we don't want to attract homeless people. Okay? I'm saying we should make it nice so that it's honoring to people that are homeless and that they would want to be there. But there's resistance to that idea, because if you make it too nice, then people don't care. You know, they don't have to work and they just get a really nice place to stay. I mean, there are people who go out and get arrested just so they can go to jail and spend the night or spend the weekend or be there over the holidays where they can get some meals, right? So I really think that it can be done in such a way that it's nice. And so what I'm saying is resisting the powers that be that say, well, no, we don't want to make anything too nice because then we'll have all these homeless people show up and date. That's what I mean. Does that answer? Thank you. Appreciate you asking.
I think there's two parts to this for Shenise Turner-Sloss and myself. The first is I think there's a distinguishment between this team and our team, and that is, it's an old sermon illustration, the Big Muddy. And there's dead bodies or bodies coming down, injured bodies, wounded bodies coming down the river. And all these people are going in and pulling them out. And then at one point, one of the people in the river goes up the bank, and all the people in the river say, "Where are you going? You can't leave us. We got all these bodies down here. We need your help." And the person says, "It's high time someone went up the bend to see who's putting these bodies in the first place." And so I think, you know, in the temptation is to look for how do we put a Band-Aid on a broader symptom and address the symptom rather than starting to look upstream at the fundamental systematic problems. And those are the perspective and the values and priorities Shenise and I bring. So looking at our support system as a whole, but rather also investing long-term on how we bring education, affordable homes, creating the rung so people can move up the economic ladder. Those are the pieces that I would look at as a city commissioner.
Yeah, I think that's kind of obvious. I mean, we all know that there are systemic problems of education and racism and poverty. You know, I'm certainly not suggesting that we ignore all of that and then just go out and build really nice housing for homeless people. Obviously, the problem is which comes first. Where do you start? You know, if you have a block by block strategy, which block do you start on? All these things require all of our attention. They all take a lot of money, and they all take creativity and vision and leadership, and that's what our team brings.
Okay. Next question is for Darryl and Shenise. LGBTQ youth, particularly transgender youth, are under attack by politicians, creating a significant emerging health issue. What specific steps will you take to ensure the LGBTQ youth of Dayton are protected in our city?
Well, I think the first thing to say is our LGBTQ youth are like all of our youth. And so, you know, we have a broad plan to invest in our young people. Certainly, working at Dayton Children's Hospital, we see these questions. We have a particular clinic and a physician and a whole team that works with these youth because we know that they have special needs. And I think within our youth programming, we could learn from our partners who do this well, like Dayton Children's, and to be in relationship with them, understand from content experts what they need, and to work within our program, but also bringing those related services and our partners to come and provide the services that they need.
So this Thursday, there is a grand opening with Daybreak for the LGBTQIA community, youth community, to make sure that in fact that they have the resources, they have access for safe, decent housing. So it is my position as the next city commissioner, along with Commissioner Fairchild, that we are investing in those tools and those resources. We also need to look at how do we deal with those root causes of issues and trauma that people are dealing with. And so we need to make sure that we provide the funding and the resources. And I want to share this one thing. I think it's evident that our opponents, you can see how far removed they are from really understanding the pulse of our community with the responses they have given. They are far removed from what we're dealing with, the root causes in the city of Dayton. We have done the work repeatedly and continuously. We are providing a number of not only recommendations, but that the city of Dayton have in fact, some they have adopted, others they have fell on deaf ears. So what I'm proposing as the next Dayton City Commissioner is to make sure that we are intentional and that we're addressing those root cause issues in our community. Thank you.
I think all of this,
I think all of the candidates up here are in tune. That's why we're here. There were 4 people running. I mean, there were 7 people running for these 4 spots. And so clearly the community feels like that the 4 people who are in tune with what we need in the city are sitting right here before you. So that is a non-issue. The question about our LGBTQ community and our young people, that's so important. Watching young people struggle who are not LGBTQ is tough. And so when you have that challenge that you don't feel like is a challenge because it's who you are, except for when you go every place else, people want you to be different. We have to make our LGBTQ young people feel welcome. And we do that through our community partners, working with Daybreak, working with the hospital, working with organizations to help. We don't have a one size, when you hold an office, you don't have a one size fits all model. And anybody who sits in any of these seats and tell you that they do, that's not true, because you're working with 4 other people to solve problems. But what we do know is that we have the relationships, not just on this current commission who supports us, except for Commissioner Fairchild, of course, that supports us, but we have the relationships with our community partners to ensure that our young people, no matter their orientation, have access to all of the benefits, resources that are available to them.
I think I said what I wanted to say in terms of our youth who are LGBTQ and transgender, and just one other piece is I think for our youth, when I think about our youth, I think about the trauma they're exposed to. I can remember sitting with a group of DECA students, I think they were all sophomores, might have been about 70 students in the room. I asked them, how many of you know someone who's been shot? And almost every hand went up. And so doing trauma-informed care across our youth, but particularly with our LGBTQ, would be important.
Thank you. Next question. Thanks to the I Love West Dayton team, we have seen numerous cleanup efforts in West Dayton. These cleanup efforts involve a massive amount of removing trash. What are your plans to prevent illegal trash dumping in our neighborhoods?
I'm going to come back to that. I live at West 2nd in Euclid. My house faces the back of Mount Eden Church. There have been 6 homicides. I take issue when you say that I don't understand the issues in our community, because there have been 6 homicides within 2 blocks of where I live. A couple of kids that live down the block from me that come over to my house and hang out to play Xbox and eat almonds, and they like our little water dispenser. And there was a shooting at 2nd and Antioch. The guy was shot through the car window, and he drove across James H. McGee into the playground then it was Dayton Boys Prep. These boys were playing in that playground when that happened. And I said, "What?" And they're on my Xbox, and I'm asking, "Hey, did you guys, did you know there was?" "Oh yeah, we were over at the playground," and he's playing, and he's just telling me about this guy. He goes, "Oh yeah, he was shot, he was all bloody, and he kept falling asleep." You talk about trauma, these kids have no idea how traumatized they are. I understand the issues. I've been feeding people for years. Our church has done Christmas parties and Thanksgiving dinners, and we've provided books for every kid at Louise Troy Elementary. I started a mentoring program at Horace Mann. So I really take issue to that. Now, what was the other question?
All right, I had her start it over because I wanted to hear what you had to say. All right, let me go back. All right. So the question is, thanks to the I Love West Dayton team, we have seen numerous cleanup efforts in West Dayton. The cleanup efforts involve a massive amount of removing trash. What are your plans to prevent illegal trash dumping in our neighborhoods?
Well, before there was I Love West Dayton and those cleanups, my sons, Matthew Sliver and Zachary Sliver, started an organization called Dayton Inspires. And Dayton Inspires partnered with Declare and the Living City Project to do the largest cleanup in the state of Ohio history. They brought 200 University of Dayton students, predominantly white, to the west side to help clean up. At one point, we were walking down Danner Avenue, and it was mountains of trash. I would propose that we actually start designated dump sites in each quadrant, neighborhood. I don't think it's practical to do it in every neighborhood, but actually have vacant lots where people could take and drop off their mattresses, their old sets of tires, their trash. For whatever reason, people don't want to go down to Montgomery County solid waste, but we could put dump points, sites that are intentional, so that maybe they're fenced in, they're well lighted, they could be locked and unlocked at certain times, but people could go there, and then the city of Dayton could go and pick it up. I think this is a problem that's huge, and I think it's solvable.
Really quick, I would want to, the designated trash bins, obviously, and dump sites, but our waste collection department used to be 300. When I left there in March to run for city commission, we were under 100. We need to look at our staffing levels. We need to look at and really look the services that we are required to provide you as citizens. How do you perform the same amount of work with less than 100 people that you used to provide with 300 people? I was responsible for negotiating some of these routes and some of these changes that had to be made as a result of the cuts. But what that allowed me to see is that we can adequately provide the services that you need and expect with the staffing levels. And so I think we hit it at multiple prongs. The dumping sites certainly help get rid of the bulk trash, but most of you know your alleys, your streets, et cetera, need some attention as well. And we need to look at those staffing levels.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I'm tired of cleaning up. I am tired of the neighborhood cleanups. My husband and I, we manage over 10 lots in our neighborhood and have been doing so for quite some time. And so we need to make sure that we have a comprehensive approach with that we are looking at not only providing the resources to our residents, but we also need to build up our staffing levels. Stacey is correct. But I also find it ironic that you were a part of a number of these negotiations, but yet and still 1/3 of our city staff has decreased. How does that work? How are we managing that level of relationship and we keep losing and losing? We need to build back up our staffing levels. Our population is down to 136,000 residents in the city of Dayton. We have 3 city managers. We're too top heavy. We need to get back to staffing the people who are out in the community who are doing the work. In terms of cleaning up our neighborhoods, you're absolutely right. We do need to have designated bins in our area, but that is just not the end all be all. We gotta make sure that we're providing the resources, the manpower. The city of Dayton is looked upon as a haven for illicit behavior. People use the city of Dayton as their own dumping grounds. We need to bring back pride in the city of Dayton, and it takes new intentional leadership to make sure that that happens. Shenise Turner-Sloss, Dayton City Commissioner, and Commissioner Darryl Fairchild.
I think my opponent's response demonstrates that she does not have a clear understanding of the holistic budget of the city. When General Motors left, when NCR left, when corporations left, the city of Dayton is funded through income tax. There takes between 85 people and 120 people paying income tax to pay for one city job. That means 85 people to 120 people have to go to Kroger's, Meijer, somewhere in the city of Dayton and pay income tax. And so it has nothing to do with negotiations. It has everything to do with the dollars and cents that are coming in the city. It has everything to do with maintaining vacant positions so that the people who live in the city that work for the city of Dayton aren't laid off and hit the streets. That was my responsibility, to make sure that I was managing the staff level that existed. And I did that over 15 years with minimal job loss and minimal reductions in salary. So it's not just about, we want this, and this is what you will hear from my opponents. They want a whole lot, but truly understanding this budget, truly understanding the staffing levels, truly understanding how you balance that, clearly there's a disconnect.
And the last question that I have, and then we're going to ask questions from the audience. And this last question is for Darryl and Shenise. In 2021, we have seen a boom in the amount of In 2021, we have seen a boom in the amount of Black-owned businesses in our market. The city doesn't provide technical assistance or available building locations to support these businesses. Our businesses require more support than what is offered through the City of Dayton's Human Relations Council. What are plans to help our emerging markets strengthening the economy of West Dayton?
Well, I think the HRC is actually the place where, if we put resources as we have that technical assistance, and we have the partnership with the state, with the Minority Business Center. And so I think that that's a key part to it. I want to take a moment to go back to the budget piece, because Ms. Benson-Taylor has critiqued my understanding of the budget. And I think it again shows her narrow understanding of the budget, because she sees every trade-off as one between a position and another, like the HRC. What she doesn't tell you is, from January to February, we had already agreed to pay for 20 new cruisers. We had also paid to fund a designer to design bunkers at Community Golf Course. We were then prepared to pay $400,000 to replace the bunkers at Community. So not every budget decision is about a position on the staff. There are multiples. And people will say, well, those are capital improvements. And in 2019, the hate group came. We found $625,000 out of our budget to pay to keep people safe on that day. We have an incredible finance team who can move money around, understand a concept called fungibility that can move our budget. So it's not always between a position and another priority.
Yes. Thank you. All right, so in 2021, we have seen a boom in the amount of Black-owned businesses in our market. The city doesn't provide technical assistance or available building locations to support these businesses. Our businesses require more support than what is offered through the City of Dayton's HRC, Human Relations Council. What are plans to help our emerging markets strengthen the economy of West Dayton?
Great question, great question. The HRC is one resource, but we have to use our community partners. When you look at the hub, when you look at what University of Dayton, when you look at what Sinclair is providing, when you look at the opportunities that they have given Tay Winston to teach about small businesses, to teach about obtaining a brick and mortar location. We are not in the business of being experts on everything that our community needs. No city government is. What we need to be the experts in is making sure that we connect people with the resources, the programs, and the opportunities that they have available. One of the things that's really important for our team is that we improve the lines of communication from the government, from the city to the citizens, and from the citizens to the city. That's very, very important. So all of these resources become connected, all of the opportunities, so that we're using something like the hub in the center of downtown to make sure that businesses have everything that they need.
And it's more than the hub. I think it was $10 million that we invested into the arcade in terms of funding to make that happen. And the hub in the arcade cannot be the end all. And there was a commitment made that that hub will then have spokes. And so now it's a matter of holding that commitment to accountability and making sure that it gets enacted in such a way that that technical advice, that entrepreneurship, those skills are offered to equip our Black and brown businesses in West Dayton. And I would say that in the $138 million, the framework that we have set up calls for a piece of that. And we also have a relationship with MasterCard that is coming in to work on that. And it looked like for a moment that we were going to let that slip away. And we need people to stay in there to stay on top of these opportunities.
Thank you. Okay, so that was the end of the questions that I have. So we have about 15 minutes left. I'm going to ask each individual candidate a question. You have 1 minute to answer. And then if someone would like to rebut, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want to make sure that we get through all the questions that the audience has wrote out for us. So I hope we have them all in. And that will be the last one, unless there's anybody online that has one. Give them about 10 seconds.
Were these asked toward a specific person?
Some of them were, yes. And the first one I'm going to ask is directed towards Darryl. All right, ready? Okay, you and candidate Turner-Sloss have aligned. However, candidate Turner-Sloss has been extremely critical of the current commission that includes you. How are the citizens of Dayton expected to trust that your alliance is what's best to move Dayton forward when your campaign messaging is conflicting? How can we trust that this partnership isn't simply a trauma bond in response to not being selected for the official party slate?
So I appreciate that, and it's a simple answer. I've known Shenise Turner-Sloss and the work she's done for years. In 2017, we ran together. In 2018, she was my campaign manager. In 2019, I supported Shenise Turner-Sloss. If you listen to our message is clear. We have aligned values and priorities. And just to go over them, in that $138 million, we're calling for housing inspection so that we can inspect every house, programs backed up behind it to bring the opportunity for remodeling, renovation, repairs, and new home ownership programs. Similar to what Akron is doing, Akron has identified they're putting $25 million into housing. Clear transparency. That's the piece that we bring. Our opponents say that we fought against issue 9. That's not true. We want our government to be transparent. One of the things that they said is that it was, we hear now it was about working families. That was one of our concerns. The city put out that for a family making $35,000, it would cost $1.60 a week. Now, that doesn't sound much on face, but for someone making $35,000, $1.60 ends up being $85 a year. And that was what we're gonna ask our citizens to pay in additional taxes. $85 for a family living at $35,000 is 2 tanks of gas, it's groceries, it's deciding a prescription, a new coat, shoes. That was a big deal for our citizens. And those are the kind of values in perspective and priorities we bring.
Thank you. Shenise, if you would like to take 30 seconds to add on to that question that was asked for Mr. Fairchild.
Sure, thank you for the opportunity. I think pretty much Commissioner Fairchild has laid it out. Our messages they align. We've been speaking to these issues for a number of years. Him and I are going to go in there and do the work. We're not part of the status quo. We're not part of the establishment. And let me just share this with you all. This was mandated by the people. Darryl and Commissioner Fairchild and I, we didn't make a decision to run together. That was mandated by the people. The people wanted this to happen. Here's the reason why him and I are running together. Because our message is clear, we have the passion, the commitment, and the experience. They know that we're going to get in there and do the work, and we're not going to be some desk people that's going to continue the same way that we've seen business continue. It will not be business as usual. With Shenise Turner-Sloss as the next Dayton City Commissioner, Commissioner Fairchild.
Thank you. All right, Stacey. Give me your elevator speech to your joint campaign. What is truly your focus?
Thank you, great question. We're running with Commissioner Jeff Mims, who is running for mayor. We are a team that not only brings experience, but we bring passion and commitment as well to this race. Commissioner Mims was an educator, served 8 years as a commissioner, and is now running for mayor of our city. Our goal is to build on the things that have worked. Our team is not here to focus on the negatives, to just simply talk down or talk bad about our city. You cannot represent and you cannot stand for something that you don't believe in. You have to be able to identify the positives, and that is what our team stands for, building on the things that work and improving the things that have not. We're going to be a bridge to connect what is work. We have the arcade, we have Economy Linen, we have the health center on Cincinnati Street, we have the 5th Street Brew Club, we have the Gym City Market. There are so many positive things, as well as the arcade, that has happened. And so our goal is to, number one, continue the development that has occurred. Number two, take that development into the neighborhoods. Number three, continue to work and improve the staffing levels as it relates to the budget, so that we are securing lifestyles and opportunities for working families, to continue to work with labor and to create transparency and communication with the government. We want to use the $138 million the way that the citizens have said that they want it to be used. And this current administration took the time and the energy to go out into the community. That's the type of leadership that we will exhibit. Leadership that connects with the community.
Thank you. Scott, did you have a couple seconds to elaborate? Yes, we gotta keep going.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Well, look, we were asked to run by Commissioner Mims, who's running for mayor. That's pretty clear. They want to work with us, not because I'm part of the status quo. I mean, I was on the board of Neighborhoods Over Politics for 2 years. I was on the Community Police Council with Commissioner Fairchild. I've been on the board, the executive board of the NAACP for the past 6 years with Stacey Benson-Taylor. Jeff's extensive background in education, Stacey's background in representing the working families in the city of Dayton, my 30 years of experience in caring for the community. I'm not a huge policy guy, and I don't apologize for that. I care about people. If a small business owner calls me and they need help, I will call 3 different people to get them help. That is my strength. I care about people. I care about people's ideas, their concerns, their ideas, whatever it is. That's what I'm going to work on. I have an incredible amount of respect for Stacey. She's straightforward, she's smart, she's hardworking, she's direct. She keeps me on task, which is not easy in itself. But we have a strong team that has a wide background. In my background, owning a business, I had my own ad agency for 6 years where I worked on major accounts. I have the experience. My experience is just different than theirs.
You can keep the mic because this next question is for you. We know that it takes private money to build up the economy in the inner city. How will you convince these people to invest their money?
That's a great question. I've looked at Detroit, and while we don't necessarily have a Quicken Loans that can move 15,000 people from the outskirts of the city to downtown, if you haven't been to Detroit recently, you need to go there. I think it's a great model for what can happen when you have private investors, when you have community organizations, you have faith-based partners, and you have community organizers all working together toward the common goal. I mean, Detroit was hurt worse than Dayton. We went from 260,000 people to 142,000 people. They lost like over half of their population. And if you haven't been up there, it's coming back to life. There are signs of life everywhere you go. And I believe Dayton can do the same thing. I think meeting with people, making Dayton attractive to businesses. Most people think that when a business is going to move here that they get, or they build downtown, that they get these huge tax abatements. And if they do, they have to give donations in kind to Dayton Public Schools. They can't just get the tax break and not benefit the school system. Most people don't realize that, but that's been the case over the last several years. So there you go.
Anybody on this side want to rebut? 30 seconds.
So it's Scott Sliver, Stacey Benson-Taylor, and Jeff Mills.
The question was, we know that it takes private money to build up the economy in the inner city. How will you convince these people to invest their money?
Well, I would take a little bit of exception because sometimes public dollars can actually pave the way and seed. And that's what we did downtown. We had a plan and we seeded it with public dollars and we started to do the investment. We started being the developers in the early buildings. We owned the buildings, we developed them, we recruited the people to fill them up. And so quite frankly, I think in some places, it's going to be public dollars that initially start to do that and putting infrastructure and putting opportunities in front of people.
Okay. The next question is for Shenise. Okay. On multiple occasions, you have discussed how you plan to spend the various stimulus package funds if and when elected. However, these funds will be allocated and spent by the current commission. Do you think it's irresponsible and deceptive to make promises to the voters that you most probably cannot keep?
So first and foremost, that's incorrect. Let me clear the air real quick. So the city of Dayton thus far has received $69 million. We still are awaiting the Treasury's Department and guidance on how those dollars are to be spent. And so the additional dollars, the other half of those dollars will actually come and they will be available once I am elected as the next Dayton City Commissioner. Listen, there's a mandate. The people have spoken. My candidacy, we were the #1 vote getter in the 7-way race. The people in this community, the residents in the city of Dayton, they know my heart, they know my commitment, they know that I'm beating the ground, knocking doors, showing up in any and everywhere, and I'm speaking to issues. My opponent is actually absolutely correct. It doesn't take an elected official title to hold and to be able to be held accountable and to make a number of recommendations. I have done so for the last 15 years, and I will continue to do so. And so I'm asking people to be intentional this election cycle, because not only are we looking at $132 million, but fingers crossed, prayers up, that the infrastructure bill will be passed, we will see more dollars coming in our community. And also, we cannot negate the fact that we have seen an increase in our federal dollars. So again, that is an opportunity for me to hold true to those promises that I have made and to make sure, in fact, that I am committed to making sure that we address those bills in our community. Thank you.
Next question is for Darryl. If you could do something in Dayton that has never been done before, what would it be?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things that I have been working on, and I believe would be critical is municipal broadband. And currently, the city of Dayton does not know what infrastructure we already have. We have some conduit under the street. We actually have some fiber, but we don't know how much we have. So the first thing we need to do is assess what we have there. And here's the importance of high-speed internet broadband. We saw it during the pandemic. Kids needed broadband to go to school and get education. And there were kids across our community who were having access problems on these little hotspots that were simply inadequate. And so they got robbed of education because they didn't have adequate broadband. At Dayton Children's, we started to do telehealth. We talk about the inequity in brick and mortar access to healthcare. Broadband is another key piece of healthcare, and there is an inequity in our broadband. And the other piece of this is we have areas in our city who businesses won't look to locate in because there's not broadband access. If you need broadband access, you can't go into some parts of our city because it's simply not there. And so broadband would be an innovative step that we could take.
Thank you. Next question is for Stacey. How will organizations like I Love West Dayton or any organization who wants to beautify / redevelop in the city be supported to assist the lack of manpower within the city?
So that is actually happening right now with many of the neighborhood organizations. One that I can think of right offhand is Walnut Hills. Their neighborhood association with the park. The neighborhood association goes through, cleans up the park, and then they take the trash can and they roll it to the end of the street so that waste collection can pick it up. There are always opportunities, and I Love West Dayton, the city works with I Love West Dayton on all of the cleanups that they have done, as well as the other neighborhoods. And so there's constantly opportunities. Roletta Jackson is the new coordinator of the department that works with the neighborhoods, works with the associations, and she is constantly looking for opportunities to work with organizations and neighborhood associations. And so we have to have that partnership with our neighborhoods. I always say that the neighbors are our eyes and ears. You're talking 5 people sitting on a commission. You're talking department heads, but you're talking a lot of people who see everything in the city. That partnership with community organizations, neighborhood organizations, that's vital to ensure that we are not filling the gap, because it's our responsibility as commissioners to fill the gap, but to connect that gap and make sure that we are backing up the city resources.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with Scott. Give you all 25 seconds to answer this question. It's for everybody. And I'm serious, 25 seconds. I'm cutting y'all off this time. All right, so if you are voted in, one from each side, how will you work together?
I think I can work with anyone. How about that? I mean, I'm wired in such a way that I could disagree with Ms. Turner-Sloss on 9 things and work with her on the 10th. I think we all demonstrate that. So is that my 25 seconds?
Yep, that's
There
perfect.
you go.
All right, same
It's
question.
vital that we work together, whether we're elected or not. I think that Scott and I are the best candidates, but Commissioner Fairchild and I served as the co-chairs for the training police reform task force. Shenise and I have talked on the issue. So, however it works out, if you are about the business of the city, you will continue to be about the business of the city. As the representative for the union, I pushed on all of the commissioners, I pushed on everybody, and I built the relationship that allows them to support me.
Thank you.
I put my hand down when you said 25, I did.
Same question.
Is the question, how do we work with everyone or work with our teammates?
No, how will you, if you and Scott were elected, how will you work together?
Oh,
Or Stacey.
right.
Or Stacey, yeah, just give an example.
So, I mean, I've been on the commission 3 years. I've been at times a solo vote. I've been able to work with the commissioner and mayor on others. So I've demonstrated that I can work with divergent. I think I think we probably all do share that skill. I work with everyone here on the table.
Thank you. Shenise?
I think it's safe to say that all of us, I will hope, right? I'm going to speak for everyone, that we have the level of commitment where we can work with anyone. And I really truly mean that, whether I'm elected or not, or whether I'm elected with Scott Sliver or Stacey Benson-Taylor. Because of my level of commitment to the city of Dayton, I'm willing to work with any and everyone. As long as, one thing though, I would not compromise my principles and what I believe in terms of how we should start addressing the ills in our community.
Thank you. All right, so everyone, you might as well keep it, Shenise. You have 30 seconds for your closing remarks.
Just so,
Just 30.
okay, I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank everyone for viewing. You've heard it. We've been on this long stretch of a campaign trail for over what, 9 months now. You all know me. You've seen the work that I've done in the community. You have heard my voice. I'm continuously advocating for what I believe in, and not only that, and what I believe that we need to do to make the city of Dayton better. Commissioner Fairchild and I, we are the winning team. We continuously will push.
Sorry, I have to cut you off. Darryl?
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. We gotta get out.
Shenise for a second, please, and Commissioner Fairchild.
I'm fortunate. I've been on the commission for 3 years. You've seen me. I have a track record. I believe I've led well and deserve a second term. I have a vision for what to do. I want to talk about my teammate. Shenise Turner-Sloss is an incredible woman, smart. She's worked in the city. She works at the base. She has the skills. I sit here. I know what it takes to be on the commission. I know that Shenise Turner-Sloss has what it would take to be there. And we have worked together over the last 3 years while I've been on commission. She has called me. I've called her. I've consulted. I know she brings a perspective that we need in the city of Dayton. So I ask for your vote on November 2nd, Darryl Fairchild and Shenise Turner-Sloss.
Stacey Benson-Taylor, again, and Scott Sliver. We are running as a team with Jeff Mills. We are the Democratic Party endorsed candidates. That means that we stand for what the Democratic Party, the agenda, the mission, the statement that the Democratic Party has put forth. We are also endorsed by the AFL-CIO and the majority of the labor unions, because we stand for working people. We stand for the values of the city. We have put in the work and we will continue to put in the work, working together.
Thank you.
I've been waiting to say this one for a minute. I've heard Shenise Turner-Sloss say several times now that the people have spoken. Well, I asked Bernie Sanders about that because he won the first 3 states primaries, and look who we have as president. We've been out knocking on doors. We have been working hard. We've all been at the same events. We're a good team. Stacey and I will work hard for you. I'm a community guy, and people know me. And Scott Sliver, Stacey Benson-Taylor, Dayton City Commission with Jeff Mills.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out. Okay, thank you for coming out to the West Side Democratic Club candidate debate. I think they did a great job debating. You got to see some lively conversation, and you got to show the community what debating is about, and I think that is phenomenal, and we hope that people learn some things today. Our moderator was great. Give it up for our moderator. She threw me some curveballs, and I had to give it time, so give it up for your timekeeper. Thank you. Over on visual, give it up for our audio and our visual person. We really appreciate everyone coming out. We'll pass it back to the moderator for any final closing remarks.
Well, I just want to thank the West Side Democratic Club and the Coronado Club for hosting this evening. I thank you guys for being patient with me, and I appreciate all of the responses. It was a joy to hear, your plans, learn a lot more about your experiences, and good luck. Early voting has started. Thank you.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. That's all the things